When Karen moved into our neighborhood, her obsession with aesthetic harmony turned every minor detail into a federal case, especially my trash bins. One passive-aggressive complaint led to another, until she tried to fine me for placing them outside a few minutes early. I was done playing nice, so I gave her what she wanted: clean, permanent trash in 24-karat gold. What started as a petty complaint became the most gloriously viral HOA meltdown in neighborhood history. And trust me, Karen's reaction was solid gold. Ever since Karen moved in across the street, our peaceful neighborhood became a battlefield of nitpicks, petty complaints, and HOA violation notices. It started small, a frown here, a snide comment there, but soon escalated into something out of a suburban horror story. The first time I met Karen, she was already filing a complaint. It was trash day. I had placed my bins on the curb at 6:30 p.m. the night before pickup, a full 30 minutes earlier than the HOA's after 7 p.m. policy. That night, I got an official warning taped to my door. Anonymous, of course, but we all knew who it was. The kicker? She had her own bins out at 6:15. From then on, it became routine. Karen, self-appointed guardian of the HOA, would stroll around like a prison warden. She measured grass height. She counted how many cars were in driveways. She once snapped a photo of my wife's flower pot because, quote, the color clashes with the HOA's neutral tone palette. But her obsession with my trash bins reached legendary levels. One week I accidentally left my bins out a few hours after collection. That same afternoon, I received a fine. The letter said, "Repeated disregard for HOA policy. Trash bins must be returned to storage within 2 hours of pickup." Repeated? It was literally the first time. I asked the HOA who filed it. They said it was confidential. But later that evening, Karen passed by my driveway, smirked, and said, "Some people really struggle with simple rules." That was the moment I knew. Karen wasn't just being annoying. She was enjoying the power. So I decided I wasn't going to let her keep poking without a response. I started small. I painted my trash bins an elegant dark green to match the lawn and trimmed hedges around their storage spot. You know, to be aesthetic. I even added motion-activated lights near the bin storage just to prove how serious I was about presentation. A week later, I got another complaint. Bins are too noticeable, ruining the curb appeal. Guess who signed it this time? Karen herself. So now she wasn't even hiding. That was her mistake, because that's when I decided. If she wants to be remembered for her obsession with trash bins, I'll make it unforgettable. The plan. My buddy Nate runs a custom fabrication shop downtown. They specialize in metal installations, and he owed me a favor from when I helped him set up his irrigation system last summer. I called him up. "Hey, Nate," I said, "how long would it take you to build me a trash can statue?" He laughed. "Like a joke one?" "No, like a full-size golden trash bin. As in actual gold plating. I want it gleaming like it belongs in a museum." There was a pause. "You serious?" "Dead serious." We made a plan. I'd commission a statue of a trash bin, standard 96-gallon size, but with luxurious curves, engraved gold embellishments, and a small bronze plaque at the bottom. It would read, "Dedicated to Karen M. for her tireless commitment to neighborhood waste." It would take about 3 weeks. In the meantime, I started poking the bear. I made sure my bins were put out precisely at 6:59 p.m. every week. I set alarms, used a tape measure to make sure they were exactly 1 inch from the curb, and I installed a camera that live-streamed the process. Karen didn't like that one bit. One evening, she actually yelled from across the street, "You think this is funny?" "Not at all," I replied. "I take trash very seriously now, thanks to you." She stomped inside and reported me again. But this time the HOA actually defended me. I had video proof, timestamps, and everything. Even they were starting to get annoyed by her constant nitpicking. The unveiling. Finally, the day came. Nate and I transported the golden trash bin using a flatbed trailer. We rolled it onto my front lawn, spotlighted it with landscape lighting, and draped it with a velvet cloth. Early the next morning, Karen stepped outside in her robe holding her coffee, only to freeze mid-sip. I waited. Then, with a little remote, I lifted the cloth. There it was, the glorious golden trash bin gleaming in the sunrise. The polished brass plaque caught the light perfectly. Her name, immortalized. For a moment, she just stared, then stormed across the street. What the hell is that?" I played dumb. "Oh, it's art, a tribute." "You can't do this, you're mocking me." "Mocking? No, I'm celebrating your dedication." She sputtered. "You can't leave that on your lawn, it's a violation." I pointed to the HOA manual. "No statues over 6 feet, this is 5'10", check. Material? Approved, it's decorative. Also, it's not in the pathway or common area. And I already got HOA approval. See?" I held up the email from the HOA secretary. They thought it was hilarious. Karen was red in the face. She screamed something about lawyers and stormed back inside. Nate and I couldn't stop laughing. Subscribe moment seamless brief insertion mid-story. If you're loving this petty HOA justice, make sure to subscribe to the channel so you never miss a wild revenge story like this one. More chaos is just around the corner, but little did I know, Karen wasn't done yet. That night, someone tried to tip the statue over. My security cam caught the figure in a hoodie creeping across my lawn with a crowbar. The best part? It was Karen. And that footage, it changed everything. Karen, our self-proclaimed neighborhood enforcer, had snuck across my lawn at 2:13 a.m., wearing a hoodie, gloves, and carrying a crowbar. She circled the statue once, hesitated, then tried to pry it from the base. What she didn't know? The golden bin statue was secured into a steel-reinforced concrete foundation. It wasn't going anywhere. Instead, the crowbar slipped. She lost her balance and smacked face first into the bin, leaving a noticeable dent in the gold-plated lid and a scratch on her forehead. She scrambled up, stumbled across my flower bed, and disappeared into the darkness. The next morning, I filed a police report. I handed over the footage, time-stamped and crystal clear. Karen's face, despite the hoodie, was unmistakable. The officer watching the clip raised an eyebrow. "This your neighbor?" "Yep, that's Karen, and this is a trash can statue?" "Golden trash bin," I corrected. "It's art." He chuckled and muttered, "Petty genius," before marking the report as property damage and attempted vandalism. He paid Karen a visit that very afternoon. Karen's fall from grace. It didn't take long for the news to spread. In our HOA Facebook group, which Karen basically treated like her throne room, someone anonymously posted a screenshot from the security footage. Just Karen, mid-vandalism, mouth open in rage, crowbar mid-air like a suburban pirate. The comments exploded. "OMG, is that Karen? Wait, she tried to destroy a statue she complained about? This is deliciously ironic. Justice in gold plating." Karen tried to go on the defensive. She posted a rant. "These kinds of retaliatory displays are toxic and harmful to neighborhood unity. I did what I had to do for the betterment of our community." Someone replied with a gif of popcorn and wrote, "Betterment via breaking and entering? Got it." That night, the HOA president, Martha, who'd always quietly despised Karen, called an emergency board meeting. I wasn't even invited. The next morning, a letter arrived at Karen's house. Effective immediately, Karen was removed from her position on the HOA board. Sweet, Golden justice. After Karen's removal, something magical happened in the neighborhood. People actually smiled again. Kids played freely. Cars stayed parked without cryptic warning notes. Lawns had gnomes. Wind chimes sang. It was like a fog had lifted. And me? I wasn't done. See, I had noticed something on my security cam. The moment Karen hit the statue, she shrieked and grabbed her wrist. I checked the footage again and again, just to be sure. So I sent her a polite message. "Hi, Karen. Sorry about your wrist. I hope you didn't strain it too badly swinging that crowbar. I just finished getting an appraisal for the damage to the statue. It'll be about $3,200 to repair the gold plating and the structural scuff on the lid. I've forwarded the invoice to your insurance company. Cheers." She didn't reply, but I knew she got it, because the very next week, she listed her house for sale. Karen's exit. It was poetic. As the for sale sign went up, I noticed neighbors waving cheerfully at her. Some even blasted golden-themed music from their porches like Bruno Mars' 24K Magic. On moving day, I watched from my front porch, sipping a cold drink, as Karen loaded the last of her boxes into a U-Haul. She glanced once at the golden bin statue. I gave her a nod. She flipped me off. I smiled wider. She drove off. And just like that, peace returned to the cul-de-sac. But I wasn't done yet. Legacy of the bin. A few weeks later, I held a small ceremony. I invited the neighbors over for lemonade and snacks and unveiled a new addition to the statue, a solar-powered spotlight and an updated plaque that read, "In grateful memory of HOA Overreach, may common sense and kindness prevail forever." Dedicated by the residents of Willow Creek. People clapped. They took selfies. Even Martha from the HOA laughed and said, "We should really add this to the next community tour." The golden bin had become a symbol of patience, resistance, and the art of rising above petty tyranny. Final note to viewers. If you enjoyed this story of neighborhood justice, HOA drama, and golden revenge, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. We've got more true tales of chaos, comedy, and karmic payback coming your way. Your support helps us keep these stories rolling, one bin at a time.